8. Doing a jig at home to that track, no doubt, would have been Mr. Vincent Heeringa from idealog.co.nz. Good morning, Vincent.
Good morning, Wammo. Yeah, couldn't help myself.
I could tell.
Track, isn't it?
Yeah, I could tell, isn't it? It's certainly a hoedown, that's for sure.
Who is that band?
The Broadsides, they're called. Very
Great,
cool. Yeah, hope to see them out live one day. It's definitely a live vibe going on. Hey, before we get into the positive stuff, the Innovators Awards, headlines this morning coming out of Europe that another crisis, they're on the brink once again with Greece about to default.
This is an ongoing story that it feels like a never-ending story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At least the Americans just did a spectacular collapse and it was over. The Europeans just seem to be dragging it out.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, that's a good question. This is predictable, though, because now they had the bailout, right? And then a lot of commentators around that were saying, no, this ain't going to work. It's ain't going to work, and this is all going to happen again. And here we are, only about 2-3 months down the track.
It's like Battlestar Galactica, where this has happened before.
Yeah.
It will happen again.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand it, but understand it at a superficial level. So shall we stay at a superficial level, Wammo?
Sure.
Basically, the eurozone consists of kind of a 2 or 3 speed economies. You've got the wealthy countries in the north, like Holland and Germany and France, and then you've got the poor countries in the south, like Spain, Portugal, Greece, sometimes Italy. And the trouble with having one currency, as they do with the euro, is that the euro has to try and reflect these different speed economies. At the same time, you've got one set of countries effectively lending, so the others can lead a first world lifestyle.
Right.
And that eventually that debt has reached the point where it can't be sustained anymore, and the poor countries of the south can't pay back the loans that the countries of the north have loaned them.
Right.
And in the past that might have been dealt with by kind of takeovers. If they were companies, that Germany would take over Greece and it would become a subsidiary of Germany. But we're talking about sovereign states here.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that you've got this weird hybrid of sovereign states but one currency that's trying to cope with these two-speed economies and this huge debt burden.
And then you've also got the Greek government having austerity measures as well, trying to rein in spending, and that's causing, of course, civil unrest.
Yes.
Which you can't see getting any better if they default.
It only is going to get worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the problem for the likes of Portugal and Greece and Spain is that their aspirations now have been raised. They've lived like wealthy first world economies, and the trouble is, what it's like when you've increased your salary, is there's no going back.
So what's the problem? I mean, is it the fact that they only make olives and feta cheese? I mean,
well, that's basically it.
Is it?
It's very basic. It's like any household. There's more money going out than there is coming in. And they don't produce enough exports to sustain their economy. And the trouble is that, if you've got your own currency, you can adjust your currency to reflect economic reality and help exports. But the euro is such a broad church that there's no way that Greece's exporters can benefit from a poor economy and a low currency because they're pegged to the euro. So whereas this is one great advantage, actually, of New Zealand retaining its currency. And it's kind of interesting to me that a lot of the same people that are interested in closer economic union with Australia also defend our separate currency on the basis that the currency gives us that little bit of advantage for our exporters when it does go down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't go down, but it seems to go up.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, obviously that situation is going to be unfolding over the next week.
The challenge for us, Wammo, is that we really do rely on Europe as an export market, and when Europe is suffering, it's a bit like America. When they sneeze, we all catch the cold.
Yeah.
And it creates confidence problems in markets, and affects our ability to sell to wealthy European consumers. So, not good for any of us.
While the Rugby World Cup is on, there's no problem with our confidence. That's it.
I love the World Cup. Are you? It's awesome. Transport problems notwithstanding. I actually think the quality of the rugby is also incredibly high. But particularly was impressed with Namibia. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk? All right, the Innovators Awards. The finalists have been announced.
They have. So we've done a national search to find the most innovative companies and people and projects. And we had 124 companies cross the threshold to enter, and then we gave them all to a bunch of experts to have a look at, and we're down to 24 finalists across a whole range of disciplines. And this is the encouraging part, Wammo, about my job, is I get to see the most amazing Kiwi enterprises and people doing incredible things, like rebuilding the way that heat converters work, so to make a heat exchanger that's something like 30% more efficient. A biomedical company that is making a gel that you can rub on sores, and instead of having a plaster or a antibiotics, you just rub the gel on and presto, you're fixed. And there's a couple of others that I think are amazing. That's one that's come out of Auckland University, is called Halo IPT, and that is what's called an induction charging system.
Yeah.
Where you, if you've got an electric car, you drive over a metal plate, and by a miracle of magnetic and electronic means, your battery is recharged through the air. There's no wires. It's
that sounds cool.
Charging system.
You could see that maybe at intersections where you're parked up waiting over the plate, and you're getting charged up.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That's pretty cool.
Induction charging actually is an induction power is starting to take off. What was the HP tablet that was almost released? The short.
Well, it was, but yeah, it released at $100 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That has an induction charging system too. So here in Auckland, we're making advances on that front. And all sorts of things, like the Ministry of Health entered and become a finalist with a project called The Journal, which was fronted by John Kerwin. You may have seen that on the telly.
Yeah.
And this is a really innovative approach to depression management, where you record, it's like a journal. You record your life and experiences and feelings and thoughts, and it's had a very profound effect on mental health in New Zealand.
That's cool.
Wammo, there's so much happening in New Zealand that to be encouraged about, and let's just hope that the bankers and the financiers don't stuff it up for us.
Like one more I just wanted to highlight was Meat Vision Limited. X-ray technology and specialised software that scans meat batches within the processing chain to determine fat content. There you go. That's pretty amazing.
Next up, the Pie Vision.
Thanks very much, Vincent.
Thanks very much.
Vincent Heeringa over at Idealog magazine, idealog.co.nz, where you'll actually see a list of those finalists as well and a few descriptions and whatnot. Check it out. 7:48.